Hi, my name's Rob Callender and I'm on top of St Paul's Cathedral right now, where we've hung a giant banner, you can see it just in the corner there, declaring a jubilee for climate. Beneath me you can see in that square is Paternoster Square. That's where the London Stock Exchange is. So we're here, we've chosen to be here. Behind me you can see the City of London. We've chosen to be here because we believe that we have the solutions to climate change already. And they're in a few places. Mostly they're in all of us. They're in collective action. Today is also Thomas Sankara Day. Thomas Sankara gave Burkina Faso its name. He increased literacy rates from 12 to 22% in just 2 years, and he vaccinated 2.5 million children in 2 weeks. He also started the Green Wall initiative before it had that name, stopping the advance of the Sahara into Burkina Faso. He had the villagers plant 100 trees every year and gave them back land in a way that they would reconnect to their ecological sovereignty, stop burning trees, go through commissions to have regulated amounts of firewood, and that way resources were managed for generations to come. This is something that we could easily do across the world. It takes, though, that kind of radical national effort where we all feel involved in this. So it's not a case of technological solutions, but it also is a case of the economy. It's a case of finance. Right behind us, the City of London is one of the most important places of the world for changing where we are in the climate change discussions. It's the City of London. Through the City of London, 40% of illicit financial flows go through here, which means 40% of tax losses go through this city globally. It's in the City of London that 90% of publicly traded sub-Saharan African loans are traded. And it's in UK jurisdiction. What that means is if an African country is unable to pay its debts, and I say unable, no one wants to not pay their debts. If they can't pay their debts, they get sued in UK courts right here. So this is a really awful situation. But it's something that's been dealt with before with a Jubilee. In the year 2000, the Jubilee campaign cancelled $100 billion of debt to the 34 or 35 poorest countries at the time. Now, we need massive debt cancellations, not just for the poorest countries, but yes to them, also in our societies. We need to free people of the burden that means that they get stuck in a short-termist loop. People don't want to not pay their loans back. It's absolute fact, because if you don't pay your loan back, then you don't get good credit. You also, if you're a country, you get poor ratings, you don't get good credit, but also you could have currency fluctuations. What that means is you have to pay back your other loans in euros, for example, if it's a euro bond, but your currency has depreciated, which means you'd have to raise taxes just to pay back the same loan. And to add to this, interest rates are extremely high. So throughout human history, we've actually limited interest rates. And the history of the church is filled with limiting interest rates. But nowadays, some countries, the poorest countries, you can get 15% interest on those loans. And that's incredible. It means that in the case of Mozambique, 80% of what they technically owe the UK financially is interest, which is completely unproductive. So we are strangling these countries, and we don't have to. Some of the largest asset managers exist in this country. BlackRock has $7 trillion of assets. To put that in perspective, the public body, the IMF, only has $1 trillion in lending power in gold. Now, this is something that we could do with a flick of a policy pen, and it happens in the City of London and it happens in New York. So if you want to change the world, we need to get out on the streets and we need to start transforming the economy. And the way we do that is in the City of London. We need to cancel debts. We also need a citizens' assembly. We recommend replacing the House of Lords with a citizens' assembly. That way you put people on top of the policies that are made by the House of Commons. In that way, the people are there absolutely having a say and shaping these bills. Otherwise, it just doesn't go through that kind of democratic scrutiny. It's just not democratic at all. We need to put the people back in charge of their communities. We need to put the people back in charge of this country. So we recommend a citizens' assembly. We recommend massive debt cancellations. But we also need to look at our past. The colonial past really does live on today. And the younger generation, we see it all the time. We really feel it. And we're beginning to tackle this, but we need to tackle it properly. Canada has had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and they're now paying reparations payments to their First Nations people. Well, in the UK companies need to look at what their extractive and exploitative history, but also we need to look at our national history as well. So a lot of reparations payments and other forms of reparations, cultural and otherwise, need to be started right now. There's no point in delaying. There's nothing gained by delaying. We need to start this because actually you can insulate as many houses as you like, but until you take care of the global picture, you're not cutting down emissions. And to add to that, the wealthy nations really could stop the climate crisis right now. They really could. We've got enough wealth, we've got enough know-how, we know how to do it, but it's political will. We need a spirit of jubilee. We need a spirit of renewal, thinking that we could actually change the world. We can plant trees, we can change the way we live. And I want to leave this last message, very simple message. You'll know when something is being done about climate change because you will be doing something different. And until then, as Greta said, it is all just blah, blah, blah. You knew when COVID-19 hit because you were doing something different. Now, I don't want there to be a lockdown. It doesn't need to be a lockdown for climate. We need a jubilee for climate. We need to feel like we're all part of a massive effort to create a new world and renew and allow the world to renew itself, especially in terms of carbon, in terms of ecology. It's about giving it space and allowing that to happen, reshaping our habits, reshaping how we think about profit and how we share profit.